Alright, I don't know what I was thinking missing out on Edgerunners. It's been recommended to me by more than one content creator I follow, and being such a fan of the game, I don't know why I put it off for other shows, but thanks to someone in my comment section, I threw it on today, and I have to say I was hooked in the first minute and invested by the end of the first episode. There will be a spoiler section in here, and to be honest, it will make up most of the runtime of the review, but I'll make sure to warn you before I switch into spoilers. All the same, go and watch it yourself, it's well worth your time. Also, just a side note, I don't know how to rip footage from Netflix, so all I have is promotional footage mixed with a bit of gameplay. I hope you don't mind. I wouldn't call David an original character, but after spending so much time in Night City, maybe that's just because I feel like a local, in tune with his struggles. Maybe it's because I understand what it's like to be surrounded by people from a different tax bracket from my own and being expected by my mother to fit in. Or maybe it's just remembering what it's like to go to a school that I don't fit into and to feel entirely alone. Whatever it is, I like David and I was excited to see where his story took him. I'm firmly in the anime as a fantastic medium, and if you're avoiding it because it's a cartoon, you're stupid, club. With Avatar and One Punch being some of my favorite things ever, not just shows. But there's only so many hours in the day, and being forced to sit and pay attention to not miss any subtitles makes it a once-in-a-while pleasure for me, as I often need to be doing more than one thing at a time to get stuff done during my day. But Edgerunners qualifies for the cancel my plans, we're binging it award. I'm actually on episode 5 as I write this, stopping only to add notes or write down my thoughts as I can go, and frankly, this can wait until I see how David gets out of this. And a few hours later, here we are. Cyberpunk Edgerunners was indeed binge-worthy television. I ran through it straight and looked up to wonder why the sun wasn't in my window anymore. It was just fantastic. There's something to be said for an adaptation nailing its source material, and I think this may have even gone beyond that. Edgerunners felt so authentically Cyberpunk 2077, it could have been a show you watched in the game. I'm going to talk a lot about how well the anime meshed with the game, but I should be clear right now that while having played the game absolutely elevated my experience, this is a good show regardless of your level of exposure to Cyberpunk. I'm not sure how much I can say without spoiling the plot, but what I will say is that if you love Cyberpunk, the genre, not the game, you're going to love this, as it's a perfect representation of what Cyberpunk is meant to be, a futuristic dystopia run by corporations. I got serious Cowboy Bebop, Ghost in the Shell, and may I say a bit of Blade Runner vibes? The pacing is great, encouraging you to watch the next episode right now, but not going so fast that you feel like you missed something or that you can't run errands in between episodes. That sentence didn't even make sense, guys. That's how good this is. I'm losing my mind. You'll understand if you watch it, though. Guys, I don't know what else to say without discussing the plot, without spoiling it, and if I don't talk about it, I'm gonna burst. So go right now and watch it yourself, and get back to me. Let me know how you thought about it. Let me know what you thought about it. That makes more sense. That being said, you know what this felt like? This felt like just another Night City story, and I mean that in the absolute best way. The story will follow David Martinez, a Night City resident living with a single mother struggling to put him through the best school in the city. One that he doesn't want to be at and doesn't want him in it. I can sympathize. But when him and his mom get in the middle of a gang shootout and she dies, David's life will take a drastic turn. Even if this might have been what he wanted, it's not how he wanted it. In the same ways Night City ate up V and spit him back out the other end, it does much the same to David. While their stories are actually very different, the world around them and how it affected their lives was much the same, which actually added to the immersion level for me. Just like V's story, the anime looked you right in the eye and told you how this story was going to end by episode 2, maybe 3? I'm not sure. More than once, actually. And yet, I held on to this little piece of hope, begging for it to be different, not wanting what I know was coming the whole time. And is that not the best storytelling? I love every way they integrated the game's mechanics into the show, with familiar things like the calling interface being used regularly, and when possible, as a way to merge subtitles onto the screen, which I thought was inspired. You'll get to see the hacking interface, but used in a much more dynamic way than we see in the game, as well as things like quick hacks. On top of just using the game mechanics, the way they used the soundtrack was it was so good! I've proclaimed my love for the Cyberpunk soundtrack before, but this was on another level. I don't think there was anything that could have been done with it any better. As far as the characters, I loved everyone that was put on my screen. At least from a writing perspective. Obviously, I hated the bad guys, liked the good guys, whole thing. But we got just enough time with each and every one of them in such a limited space, and their willingness to kill off characters and make it meaningful is second only to Game of Thrones and maybe Halo Reach. Speaking of characters, holy shit, Adam Smasher was done justice in this in the ways that Darth Vader was in Rogue One. He was in the damn thing for like 10 minutes, and that was all it took to make him into the villain we were always told about. Put to the side that for a second, hearing him in Japanese with that distinct anime villain artwork was just cool as hell, we got to see him as the wrecking ball we always saw him as. We spent 9 episodes watching David become what we thought of as Smasher, only to watch it consume him in time to watch Smasher demolish him. In only a few minutes, being nothing but entertainment for Smasher, just showing how powerful he really was. David's rise and fall was fast, obvious, predictable, and at the same time you watch desperately unable to do something for someone you just want to see win, knowing that he will die the way all those he crawled over to get here did. But he went out just as his mentors did, paving the way for someone else to live, and I love that. David's fate was sealed the moment he put on the Sandevistian, and to be honest, I think he knew just like we did. David being special was the lie just convenient enough to believe, but we all knew. Hell, so did he. But he went on to become a legend regardless because that's what legends do. I've decided that I like stories from Night City. I liked Johnny's, I liked V's, I liked David's, and even though I think they should let it rest and leave us wanting more, I'll be there should they decide to grace us with another story. That's really it, folks. There's nothing left to say. Edgerunners is fantastic, and I'm glad they made it. I hope you watch it. Alpha Protocol soon, hopefully, and I just want to say thank you for all the support on the Cyberpunk video. It's inspired me in ways you guys couldn't imagine. Please, if you have the time, leave me a like and subscribe. I'd love to have you back for another video. Until then, this is Purple signing off. Have a good night, and always remember to smile.